Welcome to What the F*** Torah, where we discuss the Torah's most messed up moments, one portion at a time. In this week's portion, Bo, we discuss how Moses makes his final plea to Pharaoh and how God unleashes his worst plague yet. Let's discuss. The portion begins with Moses asking Pharaoh again for him to let the Israelites go and worship God. They go back and forth as to whether or not they are allowed to bring animals. Moses maybe asks for a little too much, and then Pharaoh declines again. This is going to lead to God declaring the final plague. God warns that all firstborn males in Egypt will die. No one will be spared, not nobles, not the poor, not even animals, unless they heed God's warning. God instructs the Israelites to spread lamb's blood over the door so that way when he descends upon Egypt, he will simply pass over them. This punishment is shockingly severe. It targets innocent children who had no say in what Pharaoh did or said. So why, if God was just trying to break Pharaoh's resolve, would he not just target his own family and advisors? With the Israelites having lived in Egypt for 400 plus years, you would imagine that there would be some sort of cultural or relational exchange between the two peoples. It's hard for me to imagine then that the Israelites would just simply sit by and watch as their neighbors and friends were succumbed to this horror. We later see that a mixed multitude comes out of Egypt. Is it possible that the Israelites warned and possibly saved some of their Egyptian neighbors? What does this latest plague say about the God in the Torah? What benevolent God would be okay with the deaths of thousands of innocents just to change one person's mind? We see in other sections of the Torah that God is totally fine wiping out whole cultures for the sake of Israel. But in today's context, how do we come to terms with a God that would be okay with that? How has he or our perspective of him changed over the evolution of Judaism? What do you think was the most messed up section in this week's Torah portion? Tell me in the comments below and stay tuned next week for another episode of What the F*** Torah.